Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this Inspect Real Estate live stream. We're here with Deniz Yusuf of BDM Coach. Hey, Deniz, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem. Hi, everyone. Good morning.
He's here to bring us some top tips on being a better BDM and leveraging IRE BDM to its fullest. So, Deniz, thank you very much for joining us today. So, I guess I wanted to break this down into a few different sections, right? Talking about gathering leads and lead generation. Talking about tracking those leads, following them up, and sort of the process from there, and then reporting and what you think should be tracked, things like that, and then some additional tips just from you. How's that sound?
Yeah, sounds really good.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so I suppose we'll start off with gathering those leads. Now, in IRE BDM, we've got the ability to capture leads from sales inquiries using keywords that people use that would indicate they're an investor. So, for example, if somebody was to make a sales inquiry going, what type of rental return do you think that this property would bring? That's going to go through to the sales agent, but IRE BDM is going to pick that up and then put that directly into the system. We find it works to great effect for a lot of people. How did you use these sorts of technologies, and what did you do before you had that opportunity?
I only wish that I had IRE BDM because it would have made my life so much easier. So I used to do it manually. So one of the things that I did do is what used to happen at my office. I used to work at Integrity Real Estate on the south coast of New South Wales, and for some reason there was a mistake with whether it was our website or whatever the case was, and all of the sales inquiries actually came into every single person's email one morning. So for rental inquiries, what used to happen is it used to go to rentals@integrityre.com.au, so everyone in the rental department would get it. And sales, it used to go to sales@integrityre, and for some reason all of the sales inquiries came through. And I was the leasing agent and BDM at the same time, and I was trying to work out, wow, look at all these inquiries that have come through. And I was just looking at the properties, and I read the comments, and these people were asking about what the rent returns were, what they were. And so that's when I'd learnt that there was all of these sales inquiries coming in of potential investors, and the actual salespeople weren't telling me about it. So I monitored a couple of the properties, James, and then I realised that, hang on a minute, I saw these inquiries coming into my inbox, and I deleted them and got rid of them, but those salespeople haven't told me about it yet. So I, obviously went to the right people in the office, and I said, how do we tell REA to get that information sent to the salespeople? And they showed me the back end. So what I did is I added my email address, denis@integrityre.com.au, next to the salesperson's email. So any single inquiry that was coming in on sales, I was also then getting those sales inquiries, and then I could monitor all of those comments and then pick up the phone. One of the things that a lot of people hear me say is there's no emails in fruit, because when fruit and veggies is my background. If a new coffee shop opened up, I couldn't email them and say, buy your fruit off me. I had to go in or call them. So there's no emails in fruit. So I used to then just pick up the phone and call these potential investors.
Definitely. I suppose it's fair enough with the sales agent as well, because their first priority is not to get new management for the office, right?
Their job is not to grow the rent roll.
Yes.
Their job is to sell a property or list a property. A BDM's job is to grow the property management division, and that's where, BDMs need to, link really well and communicate and network with all of your salespeople in your office or your rival sales or whoever you're networking with, and continually educate them and encourage them, incentivize them as well on why they should be referring business to you.
Most definitely. Great, great. Now, when you're gathering these leads coming through, you're going to be getting them from different places. You're going to be running different promotions. You're going to be running things that are going on, and you want to track where these come from.
Yeah.
So how have you done that previously? What opportunities have you seen for this?
Okay, so while I was a BDM, the only way that I could do it, I had to go through my contact management system, and I always had to go back and read all the notes and try and remember where, their lead had come from, whether it was referred or whatever. And it used to take up a little bit of time when you're going through so many leads. But what I love about IRE BDM is when you bring up, when you click on the lead, it automatically tells you where the lead was generated from. It's instant, bang, it's from realestate.com or from a salesperson or whoever. So that's a really good way of tracking your leads that that IRE BDM does. And from a coach's point of view, when I'm training people, I've got instant access to see where those leads are coming from as well.
Another great thing about that opportunity is to be able to create your own sources so that when you do get new business coming through, you can tell which promotion was most effective.
Yes.
So if you're getting more new management saying, and you may not have noticed, the difference in which one would have been more effective until you see the results of getting those managements.
Yeah, and your website, just for everyone out there, it's really, really important that you have more than one section on your own website where you're trying to capture a landlord's or a potential landlord's information. Too many websites have got click here for house for rent, click here to buy a house, or click here to sell a house. But there's nothing there that indicates for a potential owner. So we're feeding for tenants, but we're not hunting for landlords. So you need to have click here, see how much rent you can get. Or if you've got a promo, list with us today and receive, you can create your own link through IRE BDM, through the link builder. So wherever they're clicking on their website, you'll get a notification. For example, on my website, I've got about 8 or 9 different areas where people can contact me. If they want me to be a keynote speaker, it's click here, and it tells me. So straight away, I know it's somebody that's from a franchise group or a training organisation that wants me to do training. So my mindset is in there. Or if they want me to do in-office training, it's click here. So then it's giving me my sources. But for a potential owner, for your website, you could have not happy with your current owner, click here. So if they do click on that one, they've got a management already. They're dissatisfied. So your mindset's there.
And you're framing that conversation in your mind already beforehand because you know what they're thinking about when they clicked on the link.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You are prepared for that phone call.
That's great.
So you can have all your ammunition ready. And it's not about who they're with. Don't focus on the company that they're currently with. Focus on what their issue is so you can talk about what you've got in place to be able to overcome that. Because if your clients feel like that you've met their needs, if they feel satisfied that you have answered their questions, then you're going to win more business. And that's about having those listening questions ready. So my favourite, I'm just going to go straight to it. What concerns do you have about renting out your home?
Right. It's open-ended. It opens that dialogue. It gets them to think about these things if they haven't before.
Yeah. So if they say, oh, look, I'm worried I'm going to get a bad tenant, then you talk about how strict you are on your processes or how good your marketing is to attract the right quality tenant. Show them an example of your application process. Talk about ticker or your blacklists or whatever you're using, etc. So, you're talking about your systems and procedures. You're actually negotiating and selling your services, and they don't even know it.
Yeah, that's great. So I guess bringing back what you said a little bit earlier about the link builder, which is a feature that we can use to build any of the links that you can click online. So basically anywhere that you can think of to click online. You said you've got several on your homepage on your website.
Yep. Let's give them an example. We can give them an example now. So
yeah, certainly.
If that's
why not?
okay, you're
yeah,
cool.
Of course.
So if everyone wants to go to my website, and we'll actually give them something. So this is a prize that we'll give them. So this is actually a real presentation that your boss and someone that's been a big influence in my life, Andrew Reese and myself, we actually were videoed pitching for the business. So it's a real live presentation DVD that for the first person to do this can win. So if they go to my website, and I'm going to bring it up, and you click on this button, I'm going to lean forward a little bit. Oh no, look at that. So if you click on that button, expressions of interest on bdmcoach.com.au, and that'll actually show people how there's a different source that tracks them. And we'll talk about auto replies in a little second as well.
Certainly.
So we'll give that away. But while we wait for them to do that, so we're not listening to any crickets move on, other examples of having those link builders is also the sales agent referrals.
Most certainly, yes.
So every single sales agent can have a link builder. So if they're at an open home, or if they're at a barbecue, or if they're at a wedding, or if they're at a coffee shop, and somebody indicates that they are an investor. So my phone's going off at the moment, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That then they can actually fill it in off their phone. James, I've got the same thing on my phone right now.
Oh, let's take a look.
So no, we won't look at the winner yet.
Not yet.
Let's hold
Okay,
them off.
too soon.
So there's
You're going to show me the link.
So
yeah,
there's the link there. I'll hold this up so everyone can see. So you can actually have that link on your phone with your branding on it as well, which is perfect.
If you're sitting there having coffee with somebody and they've sort of said they're looking for somebody to manage their property and might be interested in that.
Yep.
You know, any referrer. Doesn't have to be a sales agent. Could be anybody.
It could be.
Right.
Exactly.
They could have that link on their phone.
Should we ring the winner?
Oh, let's do it. Yeah, definitely.
So the first person that's done it is this person that we're calling right now, live, okay? I won't put it on loudspeaker, but this is how instant you can actually call your leads.
Put them on the spot here, Deniz.
I am putting them on the spot. They might not want to pick up.
Maybe not.
Come on, pick up the phone. They're not going to pick up.
Bit shy. Didn't want to be on camera today.
Amanda, you are the winner of the Really Real presentation. Congratulations. I'm going to hang up and I'll explain it so you can watch, okay? Congratulations. Can you text me your postal address and we'll post that out to you, okay? Okay, so that's how instant you can actually call a potential landlord.
You got a new lead right then.
A new lead. So a new lead through a salesperson, the BDM within that office gets a notification sent to their phone telling them that they can actually, that you've got a lead, where it's come from, and you can call them.
You're on the road, you could be anywhere, you get that notification.
Pull over and call them straight away. Let them know you're in between meetings and you'll give them a call back or speak to them straight away.
That's great.
So Amanda, I know that you're watching, so congratulations for winning. If you're an owner, you've received a text message and an email back, all from an inquiry, and then you were called. Okay, I'm in a webinar with James at the moment, so it makes it a little bit difficult. But imagine if you're an investor and the BDM gives you a call straight away.
I feel like they're
It's
pretty
pretty powerful.
Yeah,
it's really powerful. So Amanda, please text through your address and we'll send that through to you later. We'll post it.
That's great. So you talked about sales agent referrers. We talked about other types of referrers. Who are the people, who are the referrers that most businesses don't think about when they think about people who refer them business?
Yeah, so one that a lot of people forget about is actually a stockbroker.
Yeah,
so,
great example.
So stockbrokers is one where a lot of stockbrokers, a lot of real estate agents might think don't talk to a stockbroker because it's about buying stocks. But the really good stockbrokers out there are also telling them to invest into property as well, to mix it up. And there's certain towns, exactly where I'm living at the moment, people are getting a 6-7% return on residential property, which is crazy. It's very hot at the moment. Which is a really good return. So it's wise for them to invest in them. So, and let's not forget about, there's one that a lot of people forget about, and this is one's really, really good for those property management only companies, is those house and land packages.
Right.
So GJ Gardner's, Beechwood Homes, Hotondo Homes, whatever the likes, they've got a salesperson that sits in a garage. So James, if you and your wife are looking to build a new home, or you could be even building an investment property, you go to that salesperson, and their job is to convince you to build through them. So they want you to build through them. So a property manager or a BDM should be, networking with those people, because they are like a salesperson in your office, except they're dealing with brand new properties.
Yeah.
So what are your incentives? Go in and meet them. And ask them who's giving them rental opinions on those potential investment properties.
And it's a benefit for them as well, selling that property and saying, well, look, I do have some opportunities for you to find these people who could manage this property for you. And so they could have all the answers before.
Yeah, you can have your...
be attractive for them as well.
Yeah, well, you go into the display villages and there's accountants' phone numbers, there's mortgage brokers, but there's never a real estate agent or a property manager.
Right.
You've got to... And while we're talking about they're the same people that you need to network with as well. Mortgage brokers are getting, loans approved for potential investors. And they are speaking, investors, mum and dads are speaking with those people before they're even calling a real estate office.
Yes. So if you can catch them even earlier, it's a great opportunity to try and get yourself in front of that business.
Yeah. Yeah. So this stuff that we're talking about, capturing leads through REA and networking, James, it's a 3 to 4 hour session that I train on it, and we're getting it out in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they get the idea of...
Certainly. Yeah. People will be able to connect the dots and see maybe grab some ideas that they might not have had previously.
Yeah.
No, that's wonderful. So for those PM-only offices, you mentioned those house and land packages. Who else do you think they should go for? Because it's about building relationships for them. They don't have the luxury, I'll say, of relying on the sales agent referrals. Where else would they go?
Any sales agent.
Any sales agent anyway.
Any sales agent. So a sales agent may not actually be happy with the property management division that they've got working with them. So not all salespeople are principals. Obviously, they're going to feed it back to them. But there could be, a lot of salespeople are driven by income.
Yeah.
Okay, so and if they're concerned that their clients aren't going to be looked after, then they potentially, may be disloyal, and they are disloyal. I'm not saying all of them, please, but there are disloyal ones out there. So Priscilla, the last webinar I did, she blew me away because she used to approach. So here I am, I'm always training on property managers to network with salespeople. But when she was working for Pro Rentals for Andrew, she actually used to approach those people. So let's say James works for Inspect Real Estate Realty as a salesperson. Priscilla would go up to you and say, hey, I know that you're a salesperson for Inspect Real Estate Realty, but you're giving them a biased opinion on a rental property because it's by your company. Provide them with my letter as well. And then James, you might say, well, hang on a minute, I want the management. So Priscilla was happy to say, well, you can retain that management. I just want to be able to also offer services and help the other potential investors coming through those open homes.
Yeah, because it may not be that particular person, maybe any of the other variety of people that have come through. Because they're going to buy somewhere.
That's right. 10 people might come through, 8 are investors, only one's going to buy it, so where's the 7 other names? What's happening with them, And that's where a BDM working within the office with IRE BDM, a principal gets all of the leads, so you don't have to worry about your salespeople being disloyal because all of the leads are coming in, and then you've got your follow-ups that you put in place. And I don't know if it's too early to bring up the newsletters.
Definitely, we're definitely,
go through that, then you're sending them newsletters, which IRE BDM has already newsletters out there for anyone to use.
Yeah, adding new newsletters all the time. We've pre-populated the content. It's for the people that want to send newsletters, but they don't have the time, they don't have the ability to go out there and gather that content. So we've got those pre-populated and designed, branded to your office, so you can get those sent out either monthly, every 2 months, or quarterly to send those out. So just right off the bat, there's about 4 years of content.
That's nuts, absolutely nuts. And one of the good things about those newsletters, James, is because a BDM can actually go in and look at that information whenever they want. So if you've got a potential client that you're dealing with, sometimes you've got to have that follow-up call, but you don't know how to make that follow-up call. And this is where it's really, really important to always take your notes and document your notes in IRE BDM. So if I was going through your property and you said to me that, you're after landlord's insurance, you brought it up. So there's a newsletter in there about landlord's insurance. So you can actually send that newsletter. Look, hey, I know you said your property's not ready for a couple of months, but I thought this newsletter might be of interest for you. So it's a great excuse to be able to send something to them, just to tap them on the shoulder and say, remember me.
Most definitely. And if they start thinking about somebody that could manage their property, who's the person that's been sending them this, who's been contacting them?
And you guys are providing all that expert information to them.
That's great.
Yep.
That's great. One thing I wanted to add before we moved on to that sort of following up and that contact is if you don't already have a rental appraisal link on your website, put one on there. We can get that linked and go directly into IRE BDM from the website itself. It's a pretty hot lead if somebody's clicking on that in the first instance.
And then the BDM will get the notification.
They get it immediately, it goes straight in. Yep.
Emailed, and it also feeds it directly into IRE BDM for you. So there's no data entry. It's all done for you.
Yep. exactly right. So we've got a couple of ways we could do that, which is great. So we can use a form like you would have on your phone there, but just set up on the website, or we can use your branding. If you already have a form in place, we can actually use the details from your form and put those details through to IRE BDM.
And they can customize the wording to suit themselves, to suit their office?
Yeah, it's the look and the feel, fit within their branding guidelines, all that sort of stuff, so that it works through. But just when they hit submit, the data comes through to IRE BDM and gives them that notification.
Sure,
yeah,
that's perfect.
Wonderful.
I did know that, I was just bringing it up.
No, thank you.
But another thing that I'd like to add is it's really important to educate these people as much as you can, because you touched on it with regards to being perceived as the market leaders. Who's someone going to use if you're feeding them this information? So, you've got to have these educational videos on your own website, and if you've got an intro on who you are, a profile of who you are, or a suburb profile, you can have that linked to that automated reply, so they can click on it and watch it. A suburb report, investor suburb report, or whatever, piece of gold there.
Yeah, you can put anything that you want in those automatic responses, so that people get that opportunity to see you're putting your best foot forward at that first instance, but you're doing it automatically, which is great.
Yeah, so people are often scared to pick up the phone, but they've already heard from you through Inspect Real Estate BDM. So when you do actually make that initial phone call, it's actually a follow-up now, because they're expecting it, because you have in your wording, I'll give you a call shortly or in the next couple of days. So that's what I like. So it's not cold calling.
Right, excellent.
There's no cold call. So
right.
It's that they are expecting. So that's where you can, make sure you've got that wording right for them.
Great, so that covers the short term, right? That's that automatic response. Somebody makes an inquiry, you've automatically responded. We saw it in action right there. And then, so the next steps for a BDM, right? What's the process that you would suggest to people going through and following up leads? What's the next step to get them closer to becoming that new management?
So you're talking about the follow-up procedure from an inquiry, a new business inquiry?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's a 2-hour session that I'm going to give you in 2 minutes. Okay, so look, there's obviously a lot of variables for people to consider when it comes to, how long's too long to wait in between phone calls?
Yes.
Okay, because each owner could be at a different situation. But to me, too many phone calls, you're better off being told, thank you, can you wait a couple of weeks, rather than no follow-up at all. So I do a lot of homework on rival agents of if I'm training a company in your area, I want to know what the points of differences are. And to learn what the points of differences are, I put inquiries on these websites. And on average, it's 80% of people don't follow up.
They don't.
No, they don't follow up. So I'm giving them a real number, real name, real person calling, etc. Information will be sent through to me, but they're not following up. They're not calling me back.
Right.
So it's as simple as just doing that simple follow-up, and you'll potentially win more business. So let's go back to your question. Phone call comes into the office. One of the procedures that I love is, once you've booked an appointment and you're going to the house. So James, you've booked an appointment. I'm coming to your house at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. What you've got to do is send off a pre-listing email. So change your notification in IRE BDM so they get the notification. It's confirmed of the time. And that's like a pre-list email. Add information on there. Start selling your services at this point in an email. Whether you're sending them a suburb report, doing a video CMA, or whatever the likes are, profiles, etc. So you've got to have your points of differences blasted before you've turned up. Then send them a calendar invitation so that you're coming. So it's another little touch point. Okay, then you get off the phone. Then in the morning, I would then send you a video text. Say, hi James, how are you? Look forward to our meeting at 3 o'clock this afternoon. If you've got any questions, feel free to give me a call, but I did send through that information for you yesterday. Okay.
So they feel like they've already met you.
Yes, we're bringing personality into real estate. So I've been training and bantering on about sending video text messages for years, since I first started in training. It was originally through BombBomb. Do you remember that website? You could send an email through it and it was a video of you, and it was, but now with especially the iPhones is phenomenal. You can send a long video through it. So it's funny how people will jump onto social media, they'll do a video, they're happy to go onto YouTube, a profile video of the team, but once you've sent, all of a sudden you're sending one video of yourself to a client, you're being stripped back right now. You're being vulnerable, and you're putting yourself into a vulnerable state because it's one-on-one. It's personal stuff. If you can show the client your vulnerability through a video text, you are going to win so much more business. So you send the video text, then obviously you attend the property. Once you've attended the property, whether you've got the signature or not, please go back to your office and send a thank you letter. Having a formal thank you letter, thanks for your time as discussed, this is what I believe I can get for your property, and then scan it, email it, and post it.
People like receiving stuff in the post.
Coloured envelope, orange ones, green ones, your branding, whatever it is, and handwrite on it.
Yeah.
You know, because when was the last time you received a birthday card?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Grandma doesn't count.
Yeah, no, it's been quite a while. You don't get them very often anymore.
Facebook's killed it, right?
Yeah.
So let's bring personality back into real estate, sending them video text and send them, a handwritten, and write on it. You know, hope the dog next door stops barking, hope the baby sleeps better, or whatever the case. Bring it in, bring that life, real person back into it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So that's wonderful. You're getting to that point, and then you're relying on your services and your dialogues, your scripts, the pitch that you can make to them to try and win that business from there. But you've already done so much leading up to that point. It makes that hurdle so much shorter.
Don't want to talk about how many routines that we're going to do at a property or how we're going to do an ingoing or outgoing. Let's gain their trust. Let's talk about our systems and procedures and asking them those listening questions when you're pre-qualifying the client. You know, you got to pre-qualify them. Is it just a return thereafter? Are they a pure investor? Are they a reluctant landlord where the house wasn't selling, so they've got to put it on the rental market, or they're moving away, so they're going to release it for 2 years, or whatever the case? Pre-qualify them and then go in and gain their trust.
Helps you narrow down the things that you're going to talk to them about as well, because you've already...
Yeah, sorry, in that DVD, it talks about, you know, I had an investor, he thought he didn't have a problem. So I had to identify that he actually did have a problem. It was just about his return and fee. So, you know, the qualification there, and, you know, when they watch it, they'll see.
Great. So with the messages that you could send out from IRE BDM, sort of just to clarify some of the things that you said, we've got a lot of the major events that would happen in taking that from a new lead to becoming a new management. And so the status that Deniz was talking about was the listing presentation booked one. There's the default one that we have there. But you've got the opportunity to customize any of these messages in the status editor, modify those messages, modify the text of that, put your best foot forward, add any attachments or any links within those to personalize that message. It can still go out automatically with just a few clicks, but you want to make sure that you're making the most of that message that you send out to people. So it really is, it's sort of at first with the automatic response, it's not a cold call. And then with the follow-up, you're making it warmer and you're getting them closer to where you're going to gain their trust.
Yeah, absolutely. And the follow-ups is email and text message as well.
Yes.
You can choose. You can have them both, or you can just have one. And I love that as you're sending those notifications, how you can customize it to yourself.
We have the major events that happen, like I said before. So your new leads from the different areas they come from, and you know, booking of a listing presentation, and then securing that management, leasing that property, right? But do you have any other statuses that you recommend incrementally up till then?
Certainly do. There's so many more that you need to put in. So you guys have got the, and maybe we need to update them. You've got the common ones, the common steps, the stages. But what about sometimes you've got an owner where they've called you and they haven't purchased it? So let me strip it back, sorry. Realestate.com inquiry comes in. IRE BDM catches that lead for you. Okay, through the word optimization, it does it all for you, where I did it manually. They haven't purchased yet, so there's a stage that's you've got the REA inquiry, and there's no appointment booked yet. So that they could be on that stage for a while. So what about if we're sending them, you sending them some information? So we want to create a new one, not purchased yet, or they could be building.
Right.
Okay, so not purchased building yet, or whatever the case is. And then you're sending them a pre-listing email. You might send them 18 tips to reduce your stress levels if you've spoken to them. So, you've got to create it. After the appointment, you might have gone and pitched for the business, but it's still 3 or 4 months away, James.
Sure.
So, thank you letter sent. So there's another one. Or if you've got an information night, they've attended an information night, you can actually have attended information night. Or if they've clicked on your website that they're not happy with your current client, they might have clicked on a how to transfer management form, but you haven't, got to that appointment stage. So there's so many more processes you can put in. But my favourite, monitoring the leads, where a lot of agencies, they don't do it, is those phone calls or walk-in inquiries that are coming in.
Definitely.
So okay, a walk-in inquiry. How do you capture the walk-in inquiry? So if I asked a principal, how many leads they've got coming in, they don't know because they're not tracking it. So what IRE BDM does for you, you can actually put, with Link Builder, you can have reception, front desk, or whatever you want to call them, first impressions, or their names, and they can actually have name, phone number, email, etc.
Yeah.
On their computer. So if someone rings up and inquires, instead of emailing them, they just fill in the name, phone number, email, comments, property address, and hit send if the BDM's not in the office, or even if they are, the person then gets a notification, just like you guys did for me, saying, hi reception, or James has mentioned you're interested in our services. My name is Deniz. I'm the BDM of. I'll be in touch with you shortly. They haven't even left your office yet if they've walked in.
It's true.
And they're like, but the BDM who's out on the road, whether they're letterbox dropping or they're networking with the mortgage brokers, they get a text saying that someone's walked in. And if it's a phone inquiry, same thing. So then when you go to the summary page of IRE BDM, you can see where all the leads are and at what point they're at, James.
Yeah, certainly. We've actually done a recent change and created a new dashboard with some graphics, actually giving you a visual representation of where each of your leads are at. The size of the circles in there are going to show you where each of these leads are at. So you can see whether you're sort of front-loaded with leads, whether they're right in that hot zone, or back-loaded and you need to gather some more leads. You can still get to the old summary page and have a look and see where all of those are in that grid view, but we've taken a chance to update that a little bit.
Yeah, you're going to have to educate me on that because a problem I get is a BDM's doing all these works, letterbox drops, network meetings, phone calls, etc., and they feel like they're not getting anywhere. They've got no leads coming. But I look at those summary pages and, you have it in order from the initial inquiry coming in, and it works across at the different points until the sign up and then the leasing of the property.
Yeah, very much so.
So sometimes the appointment might be here. They've had a lot of appointments booked in, so there's minimal leads coming in, but there's a lot of appointments done and thank you letters sent, and so there's a lot in motion. So the BDM or the principal might think, Dennis, there's no leads coming in, but there's about to be an influx of business coming in because it's piled up here.
It could get disheartening for the BDM as well because they feel I'm doing all of the right things. I've done all of my follow-ups, made all my calls, done all of these things. I think I'm doing quite well, but I'm not seeing the results just yet.
Just got to keep those pipelines going. But you were sharing with me the new summary page.
Yeah.
It's a visual, so can you explain that?
Like I was saying, you get different circles of different sizes to show you where your most leads are at and how much time each lead spends in that phase. So you can see where they're coming from, exactly where you're at a glance, rather than having to look at the numbers and click on them and see those number differences. You can see the circles and say, oh, that's a really big circle, a new lead, but I don't have very much in my listing presentation book section, so I need to move that big circle over to this one, make that circle a little bit bigger.
So it could also help their coach. So if it's too big over here, they potentially might not be making those calls. So this will keep growing until the appointments are booked.
Exactly right.
Ah, perfect.
Yeah.
That's
so it'll
really
get
good.
It'll be the largest circle, right? It'll get to a point. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not yet, but and then as it moves over, it'll sort of even that information out.
Right.
So yeah, you see it in the amount of leads, and you also see it in the time those leads spend in those statuses, right?
Yes, so, which is really cool. I like that. So that then gets a report, can get sent to, person in charge of property management, their coach, or the principal, so they can see the leads that are coming in and tracking them.
Well, simply look at the dashboard, right? And you can see that front and center, and then anybody that logs in that has the ability, so the boss will have the ability to have an overview of all of this and see just at a glance for the person, this is where their leads are at. And instead of having to go through and do a few sums here and there and work it out, they'd see visually right there, this is where it's at.
Brilliant.
This is what's happening. Yeah.
We're visual.
Yeah,
That's
exactly
brilliant.
right. Yeah, it helps. It helps. You just process that information instantly. You know
We're not
where it is.
accountants like some people. They can look at the numbers.
right.
We need pictures.
That's right. We still have that. We still have that for the people that works for better, but you can always move to that.
Yeah. So while we're talking about that summary page and stuff, it's really important that a lot of people monitor the leads that are coming in. You could have 100 leads in a month coming in. That circle is going to be really big, okay? And if you're not getting it to an appointment that's coming in, you might have 100 leads coming in and it's going to the next process, but no appointments are being made, then it actually helps teach you where your BDM or property manager needs training. So they might need scripts and dialogues training. What are they sending them? What are they saying, etc., because they're not getting enough appointments. If they are getting a lot of appointments but they're not converting, then we need to work out, what are they saying at the property? What are they, what's their negotiating skills like? We need to then focus on training at the presentation skills.
How do they deal with objections?
Yeah, that's right. So objections, negotiating, whatever the case is. So it's a really good tracking tool for a coach or for a principal to know where their staff needs training.
Yeah, it's great to see that just visually at a glance, so you
brilliant.
know exactly where you need to focus.
Yep.
Fantastic. So yeah, I guess that led me on to that question of is that the most important thing you think you should be tracking?
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Besides the obvious of new management.
Well, so many people ring me up and say, Dennis, I want to grow my rent roll. What do I do? Well, how you're tracking your leads is one of the most important things. There's two things that they need to look at. It's either lead generating or it's negotiating. So I need to work on, and IRE BDM does this really well, because once you put all of the links in place and you put IRE BDM in place, it shows you there's either no leads coming in, so we need to train on lead generating, or there's leads coming in and we're not signing anyone up, so we need to train on scripts and dialogues.
Very much so.
Negotiating, etc., etc. So it's about stopping the blockage of leads falling out from underneath us.
Great. With those scripts and dialogues, what techniques do you offer people to get better at that sort of thing? Some people are not always the best at conveying that.
Practice on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's practice. The more consistent that you are, you've got to, it's just continual practice. Listening to scripts and dialogues, there's plenty of, Darren Hunter's got some scripts and dialogues training that I've done with him, recordings. I've got some as well. There's some so many scripts and dialogues. Listen to yourself. I used to record myself on the phone. On the original phone, iPhone that I had, I used to record myself on the phone. So I'd be on my landline and I'd hit record, not so I can hear what they're saying. I'd get off the phone and I'd hit play and I'd ask myself the question, would I list with me?
Yes.
I was pretty disappointed
Certainly.
at first, because I never shut up. I wasn't asking enough listening questions. I was just, sign with us, this is what we do, So it's about listening to them. So really good idea, and have someone listen to you. Practice scripts and dialogues. I used to hate scripts and dialogues, okay? But it made me better, so that's why I train it too.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's go through maybe a bit of a summary of what we talked about today.
Yep.
All right, so in gathering leads, what are your top two things that you need to look for in gathering leads?
Gathering leads, obviously, through REA, your sales database.
Yes.
Sales. If you've got the luxury of having a sales team, the best form of lead generating is utilising a sales team.
Great.
Capturing that data through realestate.com, through your own portals, whatever, when the inquiry first comes in.
Great.
The other lead summaries, obviously, you're networking before anyone, prior to them even speaking to a salesperson. Mortgage brokers, accountants, financial planners, stockbrokers. What about your tradespeople? Your tradespeople as well. They're out there, business owners, networking with those guys as well. Because we want them raving about us and referring business to you. Educational videos online. There's so many things you can do to generate those leads. Testimonials. Work on your Google testimonials as well, because the more Google reviews you got on your page, the higher your SEO, search engine optimization, goes as well.
I would also say track your sources. track where these promotions track where the leads are coming from,
Yep.
and find out what your most lucrative source of new business is.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people like to think that they need to work on their weakest point. Keep working on the strengths, and then slowly thread it down.
Great. And then moving into the lead tracking and following up. So how about in the short term, what would be your biggest tip for that?
My biggest tip for those follow-ups is don't be scared to actually pick up the phone and just, what have you got to lose? We all don't like feeling turned down. Nobody likes to be told no. I mean, as a kid, if I asked a girl out on a dance and she said no, I would go into my shell and I wouldn't want to ask again. We don't like that emotion. So don't be scared to remember, on average, 80% of the agents aren't returning my calls. So be in that 20%, be encouraged that the other agencies probably aren't calling them. Okay, so just, pick up the phone. It's a follow-up. Do a customer service call. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It's Deniz here from BDM Coach Realty. I noticed that you put an inquiry on 52 ABC Street the other day. I just wanted to see how your inquiry is going with the sales team. How's your customer service with them? Did they give you enough relevant information on the property, etc., etc.? So you're getting them into the a yes mode. So you're asking them if they're happy with the services of the salesperson, and then simply ask them, is it an investment property you're looking to buy? And then go into the next processes from there.
Right. I suppose also asking those listening questions to gather more information from them.
Yes.
Right.
What type of an investment property you're looking to purchase? Are you interested in quality of tenant, or is it about the return? Because if it's about the return, then you do still need to look at a property with that will attract a better quality tenant that's more likely to pay the rent.
Most certainly. And then in the long term, so for those slower burn
Newsletters.
yeah.
Newsletters, just tap them on the shoulder. One call every 4 to 6 weeks, depending where they're at. They might be looking 6 months down the track. You might call them once every 2 months for the first, twice, and then push them into a more frequent call.
Great. Okay, and then moving into reporting, what is the number one thing that BDM should be tracking aside from their new business numbers?
Oh, the leads coming into what you're converting, and whatever that conversion process is, that's really important.
Great.
So if there's 100 leads coming in, you want to work out how many appointments you're getting to. It's tracking those processes. Really, really important.
And how about some advice for the BDMs that say that they're doing everything right, but they don't seem to be getting the results? What do you tell them to keep going?
Have they got the right systems and processes in place? Do they know what their rivals are doing? If they're not better than the rival agencies, what are they going to do to become better at the rival agency? So they need to ensure you know your points of differences, ensure that you're looking after the client. Have your stats. Talk about your stats. It's really important. People forget about stats. For example, average days on market is more important than vacancy rate. If you're using Inspect Real Estate, you should be leasing properties quicker. Talk about your points of differences.
Yeah.
Talk about that stuff. REA gives you average days on markets, reports that you can get as well, which is vital as well. So if you know your stats, if you're asking what their concerns are and answering those questions, just keep plugging at those pipelines.
Great. All right, and I know you had a couple of tips that you wanted to add at the end, sort of outside of what we've talked about. You mentioned briefly those video texts. If you were to break down the framework for somebody wanting to jump into starting to use these, could you maybe give some tips?
Yep, certainly can. It's so simple to do. So I'm a lover of iPhone, just like I always fly Qantas, and that's the only airplane that, as far as I'm concerned. So it's as simply as doing a video on your phone. Do it a selfie. Now do it this way, because that's the way your computer screen is when you're taking the photo. So if you want to have that really, really professional look, you could get James to do a video. Keep it short and simple, and then it's simply as then forwarding that as a text message to the owner. Or you could send it as an email as well. If you you can send it to them as an email attachment as well. Okay. Look, there's a app called Streaker that can send it to them as a link as well. I'm not sure on the costs of that, but it does put it onto your YouTube channel, etc. as well for you. But just do it. Practice on your partner, practice on your kids, practice on your mum and dad, you know, practice on anyone. So Amanda, I'm going to send you a video text congratulating you for the win for it. Actually, why don't I just do it now?
Go for it.
We could show them. So you just quickly sit on the camera. I'm going to do it left-handed because you're on my right. So I turn it to the selfie, I go backwards, and I simply just then click it to the video and hit record. So you ready?
Yeah.
Hi Amanda, congratulations for your win of the Inspired... Oh no, this is the really real presentation from Andrew Reese and myself. So thanks for being part of it.
Thanks for being here. Congratulations.
And I'll send this now. So I've hit stop, just like you've seen, and it's simply tapping on the video. But what I need to do is go into her phone number first. Well, there she is there. Look, Amanda. So then I just tap on the video. Well, there's the video there that we just did, and we hit send. Done.
Done. Easy.
Simple
You've given
as
that personal touch. You've given them,
Yep.
you know, they've already met you.
And James, what about doing this at a vacant property? What about sending that instant video when you're walking back to the car with the owner's car in the background?
Yeah.
They're already a client of yours, so it's okay to actually send them something. Hi, James, I'm just at your property. As you can see, I've just finished. 5 people came through. 2 indicated they're going to reply. You're also going to get a report through IRE as well at the end of the week, or however you've got it set up. It's instant feedback to an owner at the property. They can visually see that you're there as well. Routine inspections, give it back to the tenants, whatever the case. Do it at the property. If you're going to a rival agent's property that are currently managing or is for sale with a rival agency, do it there. Hey, I'm just at the property now. I'll get that report back to you. Feel free to give me a call.
Yeah, great.
You know, there's so many avenues of doing it.
Great.
Happy birthday texts, whatever.
And social media. I know you said you wanted to touch a little bit on
Yes.
that.
So I do apologise right now. I don't really. If you see our Inspired Growth Training or BDM Coach videos that keep popping up in your feed, that means it's working, and you guys need to be doing the same for your clients. And one of the things that we do, all of the names, phone numbers and emails that you get from your potential owners that IRE BDM captures for you, you can actually upload that into the back end of Facebook. And James, correct me if I'm wrong, but Inspect Real Estate does this for your clients now.
Yeah, we do have the ability to create Facebook ads in the back end of IRE BDM to be able to upload those to Facebook and then track your stats and see what's going on.
So if I'm a BDM for a real estate office, I could actually have a video talking about, did you know you should be speaking with a property manager about the potential investment that you're going to purchase? How do you know if it is going to attract a good quality tenant? Salespeople's job's about selling properties. Us, the property managers, we are the experts in rental returns on investments. You need to call us today. So you can have a video like that you're feeding those names, phone numbers and emails. So it's gold. Social media is really important to be able to track that. And with the pixels on the website, you can send them a certain ad.
Great.
We might be getting to a little bit of jargon. That's a 3-hour session that I've got on training.
I don't think we have enough time for that.
No.
I think we'll have to wrap it up there. Dennis, that's great. Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today. Any final thoughts you wanted to add?
Yes. So thank you, Inspect Real Estate, for having us here. Andrew Reese is a phenomenal person. IRE is an amazing product, and Mike is a brilliant guy with his coding expertise through the system as well. So for a special for every single person here today, if anyone jumps onto, if you guys are really, really serious about rent roll growth, if you go to inspiredgrowthtraining.com, inspiredgrowthtraining.com, I'm doing webinars with Darren Hunter. We're doing 40 webinars. Okay, 40 webinars over a 12-month period. It equates to $30 a webinar, which is nuts, okay? $99 a month is all it costs you. If you sign up today, whatever the cost is, so you could also pay up front for $990 and get it out the way, or pay it off $99. Whichever way you do it, I'm going to give away either my products or Darren Hunter's products to the same value.
Wow. So
if you spend $99 a month over 12 months, let's just round it to $1,200, we'll also give you $1,200 of any other product that we have, any downloadable product. So it's a no-brainer. It's a double dip for you. So, but it's only if you sign up today, okay? And we'll get that out there for them.
wonderful. That's great, Dennis. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me inspect real estate, and thank you, James.
Thank you.
Cheers.